The first Moral Mondays the Sons of Anarchy refuses here! With Teller Tuesday soon to follow, but we are here for the pilot and the finale of this episode, 21st of November. Put it in your calendar!
You've waited long enough, but the Sons of Anarchy refuse are now here, and they are here to stay. We're kicking off with Moral Mondays on the 10th of the 10th. 2022. That will be the pilot episode. Tomorrow night you're going to get episode 2 on Teller Tuesdays, and then we'll get Moral Mondays and Teller Tuesdays for the next 7 weeks, where we will end with Moral Monday on the 21st of November for the finale of season 1. Now, from Wednesday to the following Monday, that doesn't mean you're not going to get any fids. We will make fids on possible theories from the episodes on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then after the season 1 finale, you can expect to see a bunch of videos. We'll be ranking the episodes, we'll be ranking the characters, we'll be ranking the kills. Anything that can be ranked will be ranked.
And in every single review, we are going to be bringing you free facts about said episode. So let's kick off with our free facts about the pilot of Sons of Anarchy. And the first fact of the day is the Mayans get the first kill of the entire series, which I think is quite poetic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a series based on the Sons of Anarchy, but it's actually the Mayans, their rivals, that get the first kill when Alvarez orders one of his lieutenants to burn the factory where the Sons are holding their guns. This indirectly kills 2 immigrants that Tig has been sleeping with for beneficial reasons. So I don't know. I know what they're getting. I don't know. Tig's getting sex and they're getting a green card, I guess. So there you go. Mayans actually get the first kill of the series. Fact number 2.
Clay Morrow is played by multiple actors. This may sound like a very weird fact if you don't know your stuff, but of course he's played by Ron Perlman, but they had to reshoot the pilot because Clay was in fact supposed to be played by Scott Glenn.
And Scott Glenn looks like an absolute bum compared to Clay Morrow, but for some reason, I guess they just didn't feel the need to reshoot every scene, and the scenes that weren't entirely focused on Clay Morrow's face, they just kept the original actor, Glenn Scott, in. So any sort of scene where you can see Clay Morrow from afar, you'll actually notice isn't played by Ron Perlman, especially the scenes where he's on his bike, because we all know Ron Perlman can't ride a bike, and apparently he can't turn his head.
And that's actually another interesting fact as well. It's probably actually free. He's probably got a stunt double on the bike.
Yeah, so
it's not just Scott Glenn, it's another guy.
Stunt double as well. So 3 people playing Clay Morrow in the opening episode. And last but not least, fact number 3, Happy Loman is the first non-SAMCRO member at church. So once SAMCRO, they're sitting down at the meeting, they're sitting down at the temple, church, chapel, call it what you want. We'll just call it clubhouse office room.
I'll call it church. Room.
We'll call it church for
chapel, church. We're prods, it's a church.
A lot of people might not know this. They'll see a bunch of bikers sitting in the church or whatever. But yeah, Happy is actually from the Tacoma Charter at this time, but I guess his mother lives closer to SAMCRO than it does Tacoma, so more often than not he tends to be in the SAMCRO area, and he just happens to be sitting in with them when they're discussing how they're going to get their guns back that the Mayans stole from them that belong to the Niners. The Niners have already paid full money on that hardware.
They've paid full money for that hardware, Jackie boy.
So yeah, Happy Loman is the first non-SAMCRO member at church.
Shut the fuck up and just get close to me then. What do you want me to sit on the floor and break my back because you don't have a chair in with you?
No, but do you think this is what other people have? 2 players and setups? Some cunt sits on a broken gaming chair.
Well, that's what we've got.
Or someone sits on the floor while the laptop sits in the bed. Do you think we're all different heights? Like, I mean, it's just not.
Well, so what?
I'm just saying, I don't think other people have this setup. That's me getting negative, positive vibes. That was a good intro and a good fucking.
We're fucking back. Let's go.
We're back. Let's go.
Right. I'm saying here, it's done.
Oh, it's over. So I just kicked off. What
are you doing?
Oh, you're better shit than this. No,
so what is it?
It's just like now it's like now it's time for the review. But we're getting into the let's kick on with the review.
Right. Now let's kick on with the actual review of the episode. What yous are all here for, the in-depth look at the episode. Pilot, Season 1, Episode 1. And we kick off with the main character, because who else would you kick off with, man? It's Jax. He's on his bike. He's riding. He's looking rather young in this scene, isn't he? As he's blasting through California.
Well, it is the youngest we ever see Jax Teller in the series, so I would imagine he is pretty young in this scene. He doesn't get any younger than this.
Well,
Think about it, that's a fact.
That is a fact.
That's a fact.
The Sons didn't do flashbacks, brother. But as he's riding off, we have, what is it, Black Keys by Hard Row or something? So
it's good we saw. I mean, I like Sons of Anarchy.
In the city now.
The soundtrack for Sons of Anarchy is great. Like, probably, I'd say it's the best soundtrack from a TV series that I've watched.
Yeah, because it's like most consistent. Like, you will get a load an episode. I feel like with other TV shows, you don't. You get like a couple of seasons.
Yeah, and if you get a couple of seasons, and the ones you don't like stand out more. But if you're getting like multiple songs in an episode, I mean, even the bad ones you like kind of gloss over. But yeah, we see Jax.
Yeah, and what I like about this is it's the fact we're straight into some action because we get the introduction of the Mayans. Of course, it's the Sons' like long-time rivals, so to speak. We get the introduction of Marcus Alvarez and a few of his lieutenants, like we've already mentioned. But I feel like with Emmons, we should have got. This is the perfect time to go in depth more about a few Mayan members, learn a few names.
But we don't. The only name. It's obvious by the way this is done. Like, they only want us to know Alvarez's name. He's the only one whose name gets mentioned. He's the only one who the face, the camera focuses on. All the other members are just like there in the background. You know, they're not actually being focused on. So it is what it is. But they're stealing the guns that the Sons are holding, that the Sons are about to sell
to the 1-9ers,
who are another gang. Basically, in Sons of Anarchy, it's a shitload of gangs that are all based on. I don't want to say they're based on colour, but predominantly it is colour. Like, Niners are black. Sons, even though they don't, you can't really be black.
They're 99.9% white. The Sons aren't.
Sons are white. The Mayans, you have to be like.
Hispanic, really.
Hispanic.
You know, the triads, we've got to be Chinese. And then any other faction, like, you know, like East Dub, they're black.
Basically,
the cartel are Mexican.
None of these factions are like multicultural, right? It is what it is.
No, yeah, and see in the real world, see not this bubble world, this is the way the world is.
Yeah. So the Mayans obviously stealing the guns, and they're basically like, well, you know what, the Niners don't need these guns because, quote, niggers can't shoot for shit. And what a quote that is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's seen you, but
the Mayans straight in there with a wee bit of racism.
I completely agree with the Mayans. If you just look at the way they hold the guns, you can't tell me, you know, with the whole side shooting.
To quote T-Dog, don't give me that gangster shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, to quote T-Dog, it is a gangster sort of pose, and the way they just hold the gun, I don't see how they can be accurate.
No.
It is what it is.
But the Mayans here, they steal all the Glocks, well, apart from a few, and all of the M4s, so this is some heavy artillery.
But the rest of the guns Alvarez doesn't want. He tells his lieutenant just to torture the rest, gives them a can of gasoline, and like we say, this is when you can see the first kill on screen, because there is two women that are hiding like in an underground, call it what you want, like an underground location. There's like a trap door, and they're like hiding underneath there. So.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why would a warehouse even have this? It doesn't lead to anywhere. It's literally just a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
It's not like going into a basement or a cellar.
Yeah, it literally did look like a hole in the ground. So is that where they were sleeping that night, or did they run in there when they seen people coming?
Must have just.
Who knows? We don't know, but these people.
They really care. They're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Although I was going to say they're not important. They do have a little bit of importance that we find out later on.
Yeah, absolutely. But back to Jax. He's in the store. He's buying condoms and a pack of cigarettes. But as he's about to purchase this, the cashier's like, I'm going to slip this wee book you were looking at, son, into your bag.
It was one of my favourites.
Jax is like,
one of our favourites.
Well, I'm not a nonce, damn it. And as he looks out the window, there's an explosion in the distance. The warehouse is up in smoke.
And then we cut to the warehouse, and you can see like guns just like flying into like the water and stuff like this. I just wonder why Alvarez didn't want all the guns.
It was to send a message, I think.
Yeah, but either way.
I know he could have took all the guns, but also, I mean, it's, by the sounds of it, there was a lot more Glocks than M4s, and he chose to burn the Glocks. Also, I mean,
no, he says take all the Glocks and the M4s and burn the rest.
Yeah, but when Tramel's doing the police report, he says there was a few Glocks left at the scene.
Okay.
They were burned. So that's what I'm going with. But Yeah, and as Jax swings the door open, he leaves. We cut to the
Riding through this world,
Yep.
down now.
and then we cut
All alone.
we cut to the
down
next
now.
day. What an intro! What an intro it was. And yeah, this is where we see it's no Ron Perlman.
It's no Ron Perlman.
And Jax is leading the way, which it just shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think this was factually incorrect, and they changed it so later in the series that this doesn't happen. I think this was the only time it actually did happen.
Yeah,
that Jax, the VP...
Like, obviously, at some point when they're riding, the VP could probably just go in front of the president by accident. It's not going to be a big deal, like, but it's just not purposely going to constantly be like that.
Yeah.
Just because he's the main character of the show, but thankfully... I'm surprised Kurt Suhr even allowed this to happen for what it did happen. Because he spent, like, 3 years with a motorcycle club learning all this shit.
True.
Like, I mean, he did all this look into, like, pointless stuff in, like, Northern Ireland about stuff that no Yank understands, but this, he kind of botched. He dropped the ball.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that he didn't fix this. Like, I mean, they reshot a lot of things, but then again, they can't really get Clay to reshoot this because he can't ride a bike, so I mean... it's like, how can they reshoot it? Maybe they couldn't get Glenn Scott back, therefore, and Clay's stunt double was, I don't know, maybe on holiday? No, yeah, fuck.
That's it. But the four members that arrive here into the scene, we've got Jax, we've got Tig, we've got Bobby, we've got Clay, and they're all wearing their Teller Morrow gear, so they're all on the job.
Yeah, it looked like they were working, so I think they were,
It's weird here. Bobby's looking
On the
lean
payroll.
as he could look. Tig's looking as old. I think Tig looks pretty old. No, he looks different.
It's strange. I mean, Tig seems to get... He looks... The longer the series goes on, he seems to get younger. I don't know what it
I mean,
is.
this is similar to when he was in that movie Silent Hill, and he looked quite young in that.
Yeah.
And here I don't know, maybe it's just the glasses he was wearing.
Could be.
Ron Perlman looks weird as well. He kind of looks like skinny in the face. Or is that just me?
Maybe he wasn't eating properly, who knows?
Interestingly enough, though, another fact, Ron Perlman actually left the bike on here in the headlamp because he can't ride it, so he didn't know how to turn it off.
I bet a bike's like a foreign object to Ron Perlman. He just doesn't know how to... You'd think the fact that he was getting the main role in this, he really learned over time, no?
Absolutely. Like,
I mean, how long did it go on? 7 seasons? Yeah, let's say 7 years.
Yeah, he was in 6, so... You know, you think he would have been able to...
Take some lessons? I mean, is that too much to ask? Or at least get stabilizers on his bike or something?
I know, but yeah. But we get introduced to Sheriff Trammell. He basically gives them all the information they need to know about the explosion, about the footprints. There was cowboy boots. And then Tig's like, shit-eating Mayans, man. Then, and it is the Mayans. And then, as Trammell's explaining what's going on about the guns that have been took, Clay's pissed, obviously, because the guns. The actor who's so against guns, he's playing a guy who's so for the guns.
Yeah, it's weird how... I think it's mad how such, like, Ron Perlman's such a, like, anti-gun, you know, like, non-patriotic person can play such a character that is in love with guns, refuses to give up the gun business, and is, like, such a patriotic, gun-loving, American-loving, you know, freedom-loving guy. Yeah, in real life, he's kind of the complete opposite. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Then Trammell says they've got one other problem, and that is the fact that there's 2 dead bodies. We see the 2 Mexicans, and then Jax is like, you know what, right, we've got to keep this under wraps here, so here's a wee bit of money, Trammell, pay off the fireman.
Oh, he already gave him some money before this, because they said that officially
And then he doubles down.
this scene is dead, this location's dead, so they can't no longer use this location, because it's been seen by, you know, multiple police forces, units, whatever.
Departments, that's the
departments.
Is this right? But is this not a bit weird that Jax is just dishing him out money?
In broad daylight. So he gives him money, but then when he like pulls over the like the trapdoor thing and he reveals like the 2 dead bodies that are burnt now, it's like shit, and he has to give him more money.
But see, is Jax paying this out of his own pocket, or is this like the club's treasury?
I think it's the club treasury.
So he's
although why has Jax got it?
I know, I think it would be Clay, wouldn't
or
it?
Bobby,
He's the secretary, he's the man who should know what he's doing. But Trammell then asks, well, what's he supposed to tell his boys up in East Bay, referring to the 1-9ers. The 1-9ers getting a wee mention here. Clay says, we're going to set up a meeting with him. And then as they're walking away, Jack says, it ain't easy being king.
You remember that. 2 in the head, put 2 here. So yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? True words have never been spoken.
No, definitely it's not easy being king.
Yeah, and then we kick off, we get the introduction of Teller Morrow Automotive. We get the introduction of Chibs and Half-Sack. There's a deer that is right through the windshield of a car. It's even Jax's question how the hell this even happened. And you know what, man? The driver's lucky he's no dead.
Yeah, he could have got impaled by the deer's antlers here, the way it's like through the head, just went through the screen.
Yeah, and it was a good introduction to Half-Sack, and we also find, I mean, it just felt so like well written. Like you quickly find out about his name and like the fact that he's a vegan. He doesn't eat meat, and it didn't feel forced.
And he's only got one testicle.
Like, my name's Half Sack, and I'm a vegan.
And he's only got one testicle, and he was fighting in Iraq, and he's a veteran. It's like,
yeah.
I mean,
some yuppie crimed up at the streams, laddie.
You've been introduced to Half Sack for like 2 minutes, and you literally know so much about the guy.
Yeah, and he's like.
Whereas in comparison to the Mayans MC, I feel like by the time you get to season 3, apart from like a couple of the main characters, like what do you know about Taza going into season 3?
Nothing.
And that's not even a joke. You literally know more about Half Sack in 2 minutes than you do 2 seasons of Taza, and he's a VP. And that's not even bullshit.
And sadly, when you do find stuff about Taza, go back in the closet, son. But is what it is. And then Chibs asks Jax about what happened. Jax tells about the hardware, and then Chibs is like, "Niles already paid for that hardware, brother." Chibs is the man, isn't he?
Chibs is the man. Then Jax is on the phone.
Introduction to
Gemma. We get introduced to.
And this is actually weird. I think it's like the only time this is used in the entire show, where like she's speaking to him through a speaker in her car. I don't ever recall that being used.
Yeah, all the time it's always on the phone.
Yeah, like prepay.
Yeah. So
I guess it didn't say anything that incriminates him, but usually. Yeah.
So she asks him to bring Chibs and the new fella to dinner tonight. Jack says the new fella doesn't eat meat, and then Gemma tells him not to patch him in because they can't trust anyone that doesn't eat meat. And you know what? I think Gemma's onto something here. You look at fucking vegetarians, like they are a bit weird.
They are. Especially this day and age. Maybe back then, like
they're all like very liberal and
can't trust anyone who doesn't eat meat.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that should be a requirement. You know what I mean? Who cares? You don't need to be white, but you need to be a meat eater. Yeah, patched into the club.
We then head to Jax's house where Wendy is heavily pregnant at this stage. I think she's like, what? I mean, not because of course we'll get to it a bit later on, but she's not completely almost at the line of being pregnant. But she's looking for a spoon. She then takes a spoonful of ice cream, then puts her cigarette out in the ice cream and spits cigarette out in the ice cream, and then spits in it. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, that scene fucking disgusted me. Then she injects crank.
See the cigarette dissolves into the ice cream, and the ice cream goes on top of it. Jax go into that house, go for a scoop of ice cream, and he ends up eating mint ash flavoured ice cream.
And he's fucking paying the rent in that house.
What is going on, man?
That's not right. That is not right.
Right, and then we get an interesting scene because Clay meets Leroy here, right? And Clay basically gives
the leader of the 19ers.
He basically tells him what's going on. The guns are going to be a bit delayed because of what happened, but Leroy's upset, and basically...
Well, Leroy's rightfully upset.
No, but I think he's rightfully upset, but he goes to the extreme like that. Basically says, if you don't have our guns the next day after we're supposed to get them, even though they're all gone, there's going to be a few more black faces cruising the streets of Charmin.
Well, we're not going to... First of all, Clay says, like, I haven't sold gun 1 to the Mexicans. He just needs a bit of time.
I've been doing business with the 19ers for over a decade.
And Leroy's like, time doesn't mean shit to me, old man.
Old man. The emphasis on old man.
Imagine if Clay put the emphasis on the N-I-G-E-R with the hard R, but he didn't do that. He's like, listen, brother, giving me more time.
Why are you meeting me halfway, Clay?
Best for business. And then Leroy lets them know that if they do not get their hardware by Sunday, there's going to be some new black faces roaming around Charmin. Basically a threat here saying, look...
A pretty big threat, in my opinion.
And Clay, but I guess they're on friendly terms, maybe. A threat like this coming from someone you're on, like, good terms with doesn't feel as bad as... Like, maybe if the Mayans make this fight...
If Leroy turns around and says, you know what, actually, it's alright, then all the tension of, like, the Mayans taking their guns, it kind of, like, gives SAMCRO a hang of, well, we've got time to plan this out. Well, it kind of rushes them into actually getting the guns back.
I suppose we need to keep in mind that Leroy's actually, like, the leader of this gang. I mean...
Yeah, exactly. You can't
expect them to say, I don't worry about it, Clay, just get me those guns whenever you have them.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid
They need them for the shipment as well. They've got to protect their shipment. You've got no guns, you can't protect your... heroin.
Heroin, man. Jackie boy then up next, he's looking in the garage, the Gemma's garage here for like all baby equipment. Then he finds a box, John Misk. And this is actually a very important moment in the show, because if he doesn't find this box, a lot of stuff doesn't really happen.
Yeah, this is kind of it.
This
is big. This was the downfall of the club. Jack's finding these letters.
And I asked at the time, like, I mean... Considering this includes quite a lot of incriminating evidence and other shit that could lead Jax to think about other stuff, why has Gemma put it in here?
I can only assume she doesn't know. Maybe she didn't go through it. It's odd.
John's stuff don't want to go through it.
Although she is a nosy bitch, like I can't imagine she wouldn't be going through all this stuff with a magnifying glass and a comb.
I know.
But Jax finds the letters.
Clay takes a shit, she gets the magnifying glass out. No, insert. But yeah, Jax then finds
entitled, the journal says, The Life and Death of SAMCRO, How the Sons of Anarchy Lost Their Way.
And he's like, Tommy's already at peace, and Jackson, I hope he never finds his life in chaos. Something like that. Tommy, Jackson's brother, quickly find out here. He died in 1990. And you know what? This is brilliant, I think, this whole dynamic of him finding this book. Already within 15 minutes, we've set it up.
I mean, how much stuff's actually happened here in the opening quarter of this episode? A hell of a lot.
Yeah,
action-packed. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more. You've had, your explosions. You've had, a sit-down meeting between two gangs. You've had character development. You've had comedy. I mean, you've literally had everything here in the opening 15 minutes. It's been a great start, I think, to the episode. Then we get a club meeting. Jax hides the journal. They go at the club meeting, or should I say the chapel. I mean, chapel, church, I don't think it really matters. It's just
the same thing, man.
Same thing, isn't it? They discuss how they're going to get the guns back. Clay wants Juice to
get come into our territory.
Clay wants to get intel on the Mayans. I can't imagine they don't already have intel on the Mayans, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit ludicrous, that, right? But they kind of just have to introduce you to it. But Juice also is located where the guns are. Now, I don't get how Juice... I know he's the hacker, right? But how could... What information could Juice hack to find out exactly where these guns are stored? If we're being totally, truthfully honest.
Yeah, I mean, what's he going on to, fucking Google Satellite or something like that? And Google Earth and... Yeah.
I mean, unless...
Maybe they've got insiders, people that they know, here... Do you see any specs?
I guess it makes sense if they know where one of the mines' warehouses are and there was activity there. They could maybe say, well, maybe there is potential of it being there.
Did you see any specs last night driving a big truck full of guns? Maybe.
Yeah. Clay, though, he wants to find the guns, steal them, and also blow the place to the ground.
Send a message.
But there's only one problem. Bobby, who normally did the bombing, is doing an Elvis impersonation in Lake Toho that night, so that kind of brings the question.
Yeah, Bobby earns some money on the side by impersonating Elvis.
Fun fact, one of 3 times he'll play Elvis in the entire show.
Yeah, anyway, so they have to get a problem. They need to get Opie on board.
Yeah, Opie is the best friend of Jax, recently just served a 5-year stretch in prison.
No one blows up shit better than Opie. Jax tells the club that Opie is leaning right these days, which infuriates Ron Perlman, Clay Morrow, because he doesn't like anyone that leads right, and he says, Opie's going to lead whatever way we want him to lead.
Which is very left. Extremely left.
As far as to the left as you can go.
Interestingly enough, after, Opie's whole bombs expert, it never really gets used again.
True.
Can't really recall anything else where he's used a bomb.
Wait, there is a time season 2. He blows something up.
He blows up the meth lab.
Alright. They just put he fucked yourself there, didn't you?
I know, but you'd think surely there'd been other times where they could have used bombs.
Well, maybe they don't want to overdo it.
When they're taking on the IRA.
Yeah, I know in Ireland. No, in Ireland. Police services. No, in Ireland. Then we go back to Jax's house. Gemma's calling in to visit Wendy. She sees newspapers, basically milk. Shit that hasn't been collected. She looks through the window. Stupid bitch Wendy has. She's starting to bleed, I guess. So looks like the baby's coming. And
miscarriage almost.
She's been on crank. So then we see Jax turns up to the hospital. We get introduced to Dr. Tara Knowles, who is Jax's high school sweetheart. She tells him about the track marks found on Wendy's hands and feet. No one was basically checking in on her. Blah, 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 blah,
What sort of nonsense injects drugs into their feet, though? Their actual toes.
I don't know.
I guess you could say it's not visible on your hands.
Even the thoughts of just injecting the needle underneath your fingernails makes me want to be sick.
I know, what in that?
And then Jax looks in at Wendy, and then he notices the baby's not there. Her stomach's just got a lot smaller. And
that son of a bitch.
Tara Knowles tells him that the baby has been born, 9 weeks, 10 weeks premature? 12 weeks?
10 weeks.
10 weeks premature. Says that the Bobby has a heart defect and a tear in his abdomen.
20% chance of winning.
Yeah, so basically either one would have probably survived, wouldn't have been life-threatening, but with both of them together, it's like near fatal, leaving the baby just a 20% chance of survival at best. Due to this, Jax doesn't want to visit his baby that is named Abel. Instead, he flees the hospital, basically, to
this bar called the Hairy Dog, and batters the dealer who sold Wendy the stuff. But you know what the interesting thing about this is? It's almost like they're pissed off that they sold in Charmin rather than they actually sold it to Wendy. Yeah, Jax is pissed off they sold it to Wendy, but we see later on that Clay's like, when they speak to Darby about it, they're more bothered about the fact he did it in Charmin. Now, say he sold this to Wendy outside the border. Would this be more of a Jax issue rather than a club issue?
I'd say so.
Which would be an interesting dynamic.
I'd say so. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can sell drugs to someone. If you're pregnant and you're taking them, the blame's on you. The blame here's on Wendy.
Yes, at the same time, Jax can't really walk into the hospital room and stab her with a pool cue.
Well, probably not. Like,
no, I mean he'll do that.
Well, it'd be hard to stab her in the nuts like with a cue.
It would be very hard. Jax, so he batters this guy, beats him to a bloody pulp, and his balls left swinging solo, as just puts it later on. But then after this beatdown, he visits Opie at like the sawmill, and Opie at the sawmill. What's going on? You're back in the club.
Yeah,
come on.
Opie's doing a normal job, working 9 to 5. Jax, he says that he's struggling at home. Jax says, don't worry about it, your kids just have to get used to how ugly their dad is. Opie says he needs money. Jax tells him if he wants a lend of money. Opie doesn't want a lend of money, he doesn't want to borrow, he wants to earn. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Then the old fat guy that works, I guess he's the manager.
Back to work!
Back to work! And Opie's like, fuck, need to go back to work here. Come on, Opie, this working life ain't for you. Just throw that fucking... What do you call those kind of shirts they wear? Like lumberjack shirts?
Lumberjack, checkered shirt. But interestingly enough, I mean, Jax does say this line later on to Donna, but like in a couple of episodes time, he says, Opie can't live half in and half out. Already, immediately for this scene, you can already tell that.
Yeah.
And that just shows you it's good writing.
I don't see how you... To me, this is something where you're either fully in, committed, or you're not.
No, he could be in SAMCRO and work 2 days a week in this sawmill, but you kind of... Well, not 2 days a week, but you know what I mean? He could do the odd shift. But you kind of get the fact that he's doing like 6 days here, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Not on his own time sort of thing. Back to the clubhouse, there's a boxing match. We've got Tig and Happy. Also, really funny line earlier when Tig didn't pay the dues. Everyone else did. And then Happy turns around and says, those little Thai boys are getting expensive. And Tig says, how about I slit your eyes and make you suck my dick? I mean, I thought that was brilliant.
It was, so that's what leads to this fight here. They're having the fight, beating the shit out of each other. Clay's talking about how they need to get the guns back. And then Jax is on about, what if we look to try and earn out of guns? And this automatically sends fucking...
It shouldn't trigger Ron, but it triggers Clay.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? Jax is like, what if we get the gun money and reinvest it into something else to try and, a legit way of earning and get ATF off their backs? Clay doesn't really dismiss the idea, even though he's got no intention of getting out of guns. He's just more like, yeah, well, we'll figure it out.
See, to be honest, though, I don't really see why... I see why Clay's got a problem, because he's kind of just set in that mentality, but is really them not doing guns anymore such a bad idea? It's almost like Clay's selling guns for the sake of selling guns. It's almost like he's still got that grudge against JT, so he's like, fuck it, I'll date to the end.
Yeah, I mean, isn't the reason to sell guns to make money?
Yeah. So I don't really see...
If Jax could come up with a different way to earn that didn't include guns and kept the club, like, more low-key and stuff and kept, like, ATF off their back, and they were making the same amount of money in a legitimate business, wouldn't that actually be better for the club? Why wouldn't Clay be for that?
Yeah, like I said, I think it just stems back to the whole thing with JT.
Yeah.
And Clay's mentality that guns, he did so hard to get this IRA deal and shit, he's not willing to let that slip. But again, I mean, honestly...
It could be one of those things, he feels like once you're out, and that's the opportunity.
There is a point in the show where, like, it's kind of believed that Bobby and Tig would also be backing Clay to the hills here, but the guns, I feel like Tig would. But I honestly think if there was a vote right now, in terms of guns, most of the club would probably... Not that they would vote for guns, but I don't think they would be that bothered if they just dropped it. Chibbs has obviously got the IRA connection, but Piney would probably just go with Jax, even though it's very early on. I just don't see that Jax would be the only guy thinking this logically, because even when he says this, Piney's looking at Jax like, yeah, we got a young John over here. You know, but after this, then Clay tells Jax that he can't be getting cold feet about the club. Goes on to mention about, yeah, we were in Vietnam. We served time. We spilled a lot of blood, brother. Basically giving Jax the don't lose your smile talk.
Yeah, and it's like here, babies are expensive, especially ones that have fucking heart issues and stuff like this. So we need those guns. So you can see Clay here trying to guilt trip Jax. And I feel like Jax was a little bit guilt. I feel like in the first couple of seasons, Clay could kind of say, Clay kind of knew how to win Jax round. Whereas you can tell later on that Jax kind of sees through Clay. But I think, especially in season 1.
Yeah, after season 1,
I think kind of Clay knows, like here, basically that, hey, we can get out of guns. Your son needs the guns. Your son needs the money. And then Jax is like, aye, right enough, aye.
Kind of refers back to that in season 4. I bet when Jax just wants it, but, you know, I digress. But then Jax visits Wendy in the hospital. She says she'll get clean and all that stuff. But then she goes on to mention that if we don't get rid of the drugs in the house, I could be getting charged with fetal abuse. So Jax is like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. It's like, fuck you, man. So he heads back to his house. And then, who's cleaning there? It's Gemma cleaning. See what? See how different this house looks in this lighting and the fact it's so dirty? It's weird, isn't it? Doesn't look like the same house.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically we have...
Gemma's cleaning the house so the baby can come home. Jax says, don't bother, it's going to die anyway. This pisses Gemma off. She slaps Jax, and then they go on to talk about...
This is not a valid point for Jax. Like, he shouldn't word it like that, but
yeah,
20% is a pretty piss chance.
Then they go on to talk about Teller Men, and...
yeah, we get the iconic line of...
Gemma says...
they don't die easy, and Jax goes, yeah, we just die bloody. Good line.
Which is true, I mean...
Yeah, they do.
You'll find later on it.
There's a lot. Well, they die bloody.
I mean, everyone in Sons of Anarchy, though, kind of dies bloody, though.
Yeah, who actually gets a peaceful death?
It's not just Teller,
Who just dies the old age?
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody. You die with a bullet, or getting run over, or decapitated, or something.
Unser looked like he was about to die of old age, but that's a different... we'll talk about that later on.
Jax then basically flushes the drugs down the toilet as well, and we kind of get Jax talking to Gemma here about his book, and that it wasn't supposed to be a club; it was supposed to be a social rebellion, and even that sounds a bit lefty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It definitely does seem that it was supposed to be that, and then after time, Clay kind of manipulated it in his own way.
I think Clay is a bit early.
But see if we're being honest, right? If JT died 93 and started the club in like 73,
he's 20 years and...
Yeah, like JT's the one that got them in the guns, it wasn't Clay.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously...
If JT had a lot of years, he had 2 decades to form and mould the club into his vision of what he wanted it to be. I don't think it's fair just to say, well, look, that everything was going great until Clay took over.
Yeah. Later that night, though, we get...
Clay just carried on what JT started.
Exactly.
So,
but JT kind of wanted the end of it. But then Gemma's talking to Clay about this. Gemma then goes on to mention the fact once you step down, he'll step up.
I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, Clay takes this bad. I can't see why he does take it bad.
I suppose when you're president, the last thing you want to think about is stepping down.
Well, that's it.
I mean, did Donald Trump admit defeat and say, Joe Biden's going to beat me here? I'm going away. Not really.
Exactly, but she then says to Clay she doesn't want the ghost of Jax Teller poisoning Jax.
You gotta nail Jax down hard, Clay.
He's gotta follow in the right father's footsteps. And that ends the scene. This was another...
That's another thing, though. I do feel like in the early seasons that Jax looks upon Clay as a father.
He probably did. And then he kind of realised, well, this guy actually killed my father. Or did he? Dun, dun, dun. But then it's the next day in the club. We've got Jax, Bobby, Tig, and Clay meeting up with Darby.
Yeah, we got another meeting here between 2 gangs. This time it's the Nordics with their leader, Ernest Darby, and his top man, his right-hand man, Whistler. They're at a diner. They're not happy about the drugs obviously being sold in Charmin. Whistler tells Jax, asks Jax...
How's your pretty little family doing anyway?
Actually, that was Ernest Darby. I think they asked that.
And then Whistler says another off.
Says something else. This pisses Jax off. They're all like leaning over the table trying to get into fights, but it gets broken up. Clay tells everyone just to go back about their business. Then Clay basically like lends. They give a gun to Darby for a get well present. But I don't get this. Like why are they giving a gun? It's almost like they're admitting that they fucked up or something.
Yeah.
They're giving a gun as a get well present to the guy that Jax beat up in the bar, and then Clay says the next time you're selling gun, it won't be
a present.
Yeah, we won't be using this gun as a gift. We'll be using it on you. Bang, bang, bang. So a threat to Darby there. And
do you know how it works?
But
outside Darby.
But they're so pissed that the drugs were being sold in Charmin. why do they feel they need to apologise then for? I just thought it was a bit weird. Did they take it too far? Is it the fact the guy lost a testicle? Is that like? Is there some?
I think Clay was kind of saying, "We're good for now, but if you cross us again, well, that's exactly."
Yeah, but could they not have done that without the present, the gift of the gun? Like,
I think it was just a show of good faith, wasn't it?
oh, maybe.
Even though what's one gun?
Clay's a good guy.
Aye, Clay's a good guy, but we're back at the hospital. We get Tara. She's talking to Gemma, basically says that she goes speak to Wendy and says that she's got somebody, man. She needs help, man. She needs to know that she's not alone. And I think Gemma's fucking right here. She's like, well, fuck Wendy. She OD'd. And she's a junkie waster bastard.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't really understand what Tara's point of view.
She almost killed her grandson. Like, what do you want Gemma to do? Go in here and... Oh, Wendy, I hope you're okay, Wendy.
And this pisses Tara off. And, like, Tara knows Gemma. That's what makes it a bit stupid.
But does she think Gemma's the kind of person that's going to go in and hold Wendy's hand after almost murdering her fucking grandson?
Yeah, I know. Tara kind of has a hissy fit here, walks away. Gemma lifts off, like, her hospital gown. And it's
like a tattoo there.
Like a tattoo. Seems like everyone in this hospital's got, for
Gemma says there's some things you can't change. Tara says she leaves it there to keep the past behind her, which I guess is a decent wee quote there. But will it be our quote of the day?
Will it be? You have to check out. Gemma then calls her a bitch as she leaves. Jax then heads to Opie's house to get him and the explosions, but then we get the introduction.
There's a different kind of explosion. Opie's trying to pack his gear, trying to pack his explosive. His wife Donna sees this. She's not happy. Doesn't really want Opie to leave. Starts like kind of battering him, punching him in the chest, and you can't leave. Watching. No. The kids are watching. Then she tells her sons to come with her, even though she's got a son and a daughter. So I don't know if this is a fuck up here. This could be a goof. It could be a botch, but she refers to them as sons.
Maybe she was referring to Opie and Jax. Come on, sons.
Come on inside. You're not allowed to leave.
Right, let's just get the thing at Mars.
Opie walks in the driveway. Jax, he says to Jax, "Did you see all that?" Jack's like, "Yeah, parked down the road there." Jax says, "Look, forget about this. I can blow it up. Go fix your family." Clay says, if I don't turn up, Clay will chop both our dicks off. Jax tells Opie to go to the hospital and get like a medical record that his son fell and hit his head.
Going to extreme lengths here. Yeah, Clay just wouldn't do this, would he?
Nah, I can't imagine Clay's going to phone up St. Thomas and be like, "Here, did Opie's son come in with a head injury or something like that?" It just doesn't really...
Hello, this is SAMCRO President Clay Morrow here. You know what? He's not going to do that, but... No. Yeah, it's like... But again, see at this point, why can't Opie just say to Donna, right, I need to be in the club. That's it. End of. If you want to go, fucking go.
Or why can't Jax just go to Clay and say, "Look, Opie couldn't make it. There's issues with his family. I told him to stay behind."
Because I guess the whole Opie will lean whatever way we want him to lean kind of goes out the window. That's no windy, man. But yeah, so this was actually pretty...
So when Clay says that, you think that's more of a... Clay's just making
demanding?
That's not a suggestion. That's Clay saying, "Opie will be there if we need him to be there."
Well, I think it's right. You're a fucking club member.
Sure.
I don't... Oh, because you've got a domestic issue,
here's the
you can't
thing.
blow up the Mayans?
We noted earlier how Tig was the only guy not to pay his keep. Is Opie paying keep? At the moment, he can't even seem to keep his house over his head. And that's another thing I want to bring up. What is the actual... Like... Would you think it's fair to say that the club members are well off? I would say no, because if they were, Tig would be able to afford to pay his keep.
Well, the Thai boys must be expensive, huh?
Yeah, but so Tig can't afford to pay his keep. And so another thing is, why are all the crow... What's the women called? The crow eaters?
Yeah.
Why are they why are they all jumping over and making it with Bobby and all this? It's not like Bob... I doubt the Sons don't really have money. What's in it for them? Do they really want to be an old... Do these young 20-year-olds really want to be an old lady to Bobby Elvis?
I don't really know. It's just the culture though, isn't it?
I know, but you can understand that, see, Bobby's rich and they want to get in there, but I mean...
Well, he's a Jew. He might be rich.
I know, but I think we can see here that they're not really... I mean, look at Opie, he's skint, he can barely make ends meet. Tig couldn't afford to pay his keep.
Yeah.
Clay's basically got no retirement fund.
But what's the keep for? Electricity?
That's what I mean, I thought they made money being in the club. Well, I guess it does. At the times they make runs and stuff, you get Clay dishing out the envelopes.
No, I think...
It must be like a fee you pay to be in.
Aye, because the prospects definitely pay a fee, but I think it is just a case of...
But it's weird how one week you're paying in money, but the next week, here's...
But why wouldn't Clay or Bobby, whoever's in charge, just take the percentage out of the pay that they get?
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
Like your tax? It's like your front tax?
Yeah, like a guy. I think I always wanted to bring that up, but it's just a bit weird to me.
But they kind of do away with this later on, don't they?
I don't know,
guess
do
because
they?
they're making big stacks, they don't give a fuck.
Or do they? Maybe they just don't feel.
Well,
the
it
need.
does.
But maybe they don't feel the need to say, right, where's your money every. You know what I mean? It'd be a bit repetitive, like if every fucking church meeting, like, right, how many Thai boys have you slept with this week? Tig? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know. Right, anyway, man, Bobby arrives in Toho with half sack. It's revealed that it's double booked. They love Korean Elvis.
so basically, there's a bunch of Asians. There's 6 busloads of Asians, and they want the Korean Elvis. They don't want the fat Elvis. And that's a bit. No, I don't get, right. I think that is 100% okay, right. I think if you're Asian, right, you would probably rather a Korean Elvis, right? Because I think you can relate more. I've got no issue with that, right? There's a 6 busloads of Asians, right? 6 busloads of Koreans, and they would rather they would rather watch a Korean play the part of Bobby Elvis, right? I have no issue with that. I think that makes 100% sense, right? But my issue would be if it was the other way about. And like they say, there's a busload of 6 white people out there or country folk out there, and they don't want the Korean guy. Go away. They don't want Korean Elvis. They want Bobby Elvis. To me, that would be racist.
Fuck yeah, completely. But that's just the way it's.
Even though it's the exact same fucking thing. Do you agree with that?
It is, but maybe it's just the fact that white's a majority and they're not. But I think that would be the smart way of looking at it. But in this
Personally, it wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't give a shit. I would prefer, though, if it was me, I'd prefer whoever does a better job at impersonating Elvis, whether it be the white or the Korean.
And I think Bobby and this guy were pretty good.
I think
half sack and physicists dressing and mama, help me.
I actually think the Korean guy was better. Like.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't bother me, but I can understand why some.
We didn't hear him sing though. Bobby's probably the better singer.
Aye.
Because I can't help
falling in love with you. Maybe we can.
Oh, help me. But we're at the Mayans.
Oh, Jesus.
We're at the Mayans' stash of guns here. We're in San Leandro. We've got Clay, Jax, Tig, and Chibs. They're in the town, brother. And they arrive, and so basically they go in, they find their guns that are like kind of under like tortilla wraps and all that stuff. Yankee candles. That sort of stuff. The typical Mexican stuff. Green cards and all, man. The fucking everything's stored in here. They get the M4s out. But as they're doing it, the Mayans arrive. Jax and then Clay are like, right, we're going to deal with this. Jax then says, no, we're not going to kill. I'm going to come up with a plan to distract
But
them.
this all boils down to Jax not really being able to set the explosives.
Yeah.
He tries to call Opie, but Opie's not answering.
Can't Opie chopping it, like?
Yeah, Opie is jobbing it, like. But then again, I suppose now, Jax did say to him, if I need you, I'll call you.
Didn't answer.
So...
But I see again, right? You're right. This does boil down to Jax not being able to like the explosives, but also he doesn't like. We don't know if he hasn't killed before us. I'm willing to bet he hasn't. I honestly think that. I know at this point he's been in the club like 12 years, and that'd be pretty hard to think that he hasn't killed anyone.
Especially rising to the ranks of VPE.
Yeah, but he went for prospect the VP in 6 months. That tells me all you need to know.
See, I think a video we could make is Jax a legit VP? Do you not think? Well, maybe now
I'd
he
say
is.
by this point,
maybe
but at the start when he was what 20,
he basically just become VP because who his father was, and I wonder if that pissed off a lot of people that were currently in the club at the time. I think they would have right. I think you'd have a right to be pissed off that someone just went for prospect to VP based on who their dad was.
No.
You could imagine the other members. Like you could imagine maybe the sergeant at arms at the time, or someone who was like a long-standing member, thinking,
or something.
You know what? It should be my turn to be VP. I should be getting.
No, I definitely agree with that. Definitely, you know, you've got Kozik who might have been a member at the time, and stuff like that. But Jax then grabs a blanket, right? And I think this is almost a bit stupid for Jax.
Clay's pissed off because Jax doesn't really want to kill anyone, but Clay says you're going to have to make up for your mistake. Basically, Clay's blaming Jax for him and the issue with the explosives. Opie not being there.
Yeah, but like Jax grabs the blanket here to pretend to be drunk in order to get like the jump on them, but they could have just fucking turned around and dropped him.
Yeah, well, maybe you could say they're not just going to shoot a random old fucking drunk, are they? Or maybe they could have got startled and just went. I don't know. I mean,
well, yeah,
maybe they're not that trigger happy.
Jax gets decked by one of them, then he gets like the upper hand, then Clay points the gun at the back of one of them.
Yeah, because the guy says, "Yeah, you drunks come around here and you get this."
Yeah.
And Clay's like, no, you spics steal our guns and you get this.
Shoots the guy who burnt down the warehouse.
Yeah, shoots him
unnamed
a couple of times in the throat. This guy's dead. We then got another Mayan who jumps in a car. He's trying to leave, jumps in like a truck trying to leave, but Tig manages to jump in the back of the truck and shoots him through the back windshield, so he's dead. We then have Whistler, who wasn't there, but he is there. He appears. Don't know where he was in the last 30 seconds.
I don't know. Maybe they dropped him off. He was checking outside or something.
But yeah, he appears. He shoots Jax from behind, but Jax manages to fall to the ground and shoot Whistler.
Fun fact: only time in the entire series Jax is shot.
Is that actually?
Yep.
That's actually mad. That must be
That could have been a fact.
That could be main character shielding or something. Then Jax kills him, and then we've got the other guy. Then the other guy that they were not killing. He gets the opportunity to pull out a knife, but before he can do anything, Clay shoots him.
Yeah, absolutely lights him up, man. What gun was Clay? Clay was wasn't an AUG. It was like a MP5, wasn't it?
Something.
MP5.
And then Clay tells Jax to go over and finish Whistler, but Jax says it's finished. I think Whistler was kind of laying there dying, or either dead or dying. I think he was dead, and then for some reason Clay shoots him a couple more times. I don't know why.
Yeah, and then he shoots up the board. Then Chip's going, "I'll leave you bad boys for 2 minutes."
Oh, mother Christ, die!
Brilliant.
So then they set the explosives, and it's kind of funny. They've got the 3 Mexicans in the front of the truck, and then they've got Whistler in the back, and there's the explosives stuck in his arse.
Yeah, this was definitely Tig's doing. May say on the Wikipedia it was Jax, but it was Tig.
Aye, Tig definitely stuck.
And interestingly enough, when it shows you the scene of them running away, you've got Emilio Rivera and Scott Glenn running away.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good wee moment there, isn't
Amelia Rivera, in case you don't know, was originally casted to play the Sons, but they decided that he would be the Mayans leader at the last moment. And of course, Glenn Scott, because I guess it wasn't focused exactly on Clay, they decided not to reshoot this scene with
yeah, then we get a scene of Jax hanging at Clay hanging at the fan window. But
that was definitely Ron Perlman.
And during all this, we had the whole surgery being performed on Abel, but that goes successfully. Gemma then visits Wendy, basically gives her a Bible, and then says, "Yeah, keep Abel safe from her murderous junkie mom." Burying Wendy again. You know what? This is actually the first time she's buried her face to face, and I think you know what? She gave her an option here. Gave her the meth in the Bible. You gotta turn to God, brother. And I think this was actually a fair ultimatum. I think if Wendy didn't do this, you could maybe say there's a bit of redemption here.
Yeah, but then Wendy uses the drugs that Gemma gave her, so all this "I want to get clean for my son" was bullshit.
I know.
At least at this stage.
Exactly, and then we get the final outro. We get Jax returned to the hospital. Tara then tells him to clean up because there's blood over him. Because guess what? He gets shot. Then we get Bobby singing. We've got everyone getting their last wee scene. Can't help falling in love.
We get Wendy ODing in the hospital.
Jax then finally visits Abel. Gemma walks in. He's perfect. Then Clay just appears out of nowhere looking like a fucking nonce. Take a seat over there, Ron.
And that's it. That is how episode 1 ends. That is how episode 1 closes it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think for a pilot, it probably couldn't have been much better. So rate it out of 10.
I'm going to get a 9.
Yes, I'm going to get a 9. And I think would stop me from being a 10. I feel like the bloopers and just the wee stuff where they didn't reshoot stuff. And also just a few wee nitpicks.
Yeah, I think that's cheap. See when there's a couple of scenes, right? You might not notice if you're not paying attention. But if you're paying attention and you know what to look out for, you can clearly tell that some of the scenes with Clay Morrow is not being played by Ron Perlman, and even at the end there when it's Emilio running out, who's a member of the Mayans, but they've got him playing a member of the I think that's just cheap.
It is cheap, it definitely is. But we're sitting here, we've gave it a 9.
Tell you what though, for the first episode, I mean, lots of action, great dialogue, so much fucking good dialogue, introduced to all the characters. I feel like after one episode,
you know all their
each
names.
Character's kind of got an identity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not just you know Jax, you know Clay, but I don't know who the rest are.
Is this the best pilot of a TV show?
It could be. I'd say, second best, I think.
Tell you what.
I think the Strain pilot's probably the best pilot I've ever seen.
And everyone's like, what the fuck's the Strain?
Strain reviews coming to the channel soon, but that's it. I'm giving it a 9. You giving it a 9?
I'll give it a 9 too, yes.
That means it is a 9 out of 10.
Now into the quote of the episode segment, and we are here with Jack saying, "It ain't easy being cheesy." No, it ain't easy being king.
Yeah, so going forward, every episode we are going to have a quote of the episode. So basically, what we think was the best quote in that said episode. I think episode 1, there's so many good choices to choose from, which we mentioned in the review. I think the one about Jax and Gemma saying, "Teller men don't die easy, just die bloody." Great line. Tig and Happy, arguing about the Thai boys and "I'll slit your eyes and get you to suck my dick," I thought was great. There was some good lines with Clay at the table as well.
Chibs had about 5.
Yeah, some belters in there as well. So, I mean, there were so many good lines to choose for. But I kind of like this Jax one, not because it's necessarily funny, but because it speaks volumes. It's right at the start of the series. And I think maybe when Jax says it, he actually doesn't even realise how true this quote is here. But when he says it ain't easy being king, Jax actually finds this out later on in the series. But I think it's fair to say that being president, even though a lot of people aspire to be the president, it is a really, really hard job. It's a difficult job to have. And I don't think there's many truer quotes than this for the entire Sons of Anarchy series. That's why we have put it in as our quote of the episode. And finally, we move on to our MVP of the episode. So basically, every single episode, we're going to name the character that we thought stood out the most, had the best lines, had the best moments, just whoever we thought was the best and most valuable player of the episode. And for the pilot, we've decided to give this award to Clay Morrow, the president of SAMCRO.
Yes, I feel like with Clay, it was a great portrayal by Ron Perlman. You know what? It's gripping. It gives him, even though Jax is the main character, it shows that he's the main man at the club.
Yeah,
and it's hard to do that. It's hard to make one guy the main character and one guy the main guy of the actual club.
Because if you look at the Mayans, it seems like Easy's the guy that's coming up with all the plays. Easy seems the guy with all the decisions. It basically seems like Easy is the fucking main dude. But in this, Clay lets you know that he's the leader. He sets an example. He has authority. He has leadership. He's stern. I mean, he knows when he can be funny with the club, and he knows when he has to lay down the rules. I think he's done a great job of that. But he showed so many. I think Ron Perlman showed so many different sides to his acting ability here. And I feel like if it was Glenn Scott, no offense to this Glenn Scott guy, but I feel like if he played Clay, I don't think Clay would be our MVP. I don't think Clay Morrow would be the character that he is. I don't think Sons of Anarchy would be the show that it is without Ron Perlman.
And it's as simple as that. He was the MVP. It won't be the first time he gets MVP. If I'm being honest, I think Clay will rack up near 30 of these MVPs throughout the show.
Oh, that's mad, 30. So you think about a third of the episodes he's going to be the main man?
And he's not in 13 of them.
Wow, Clay, he's got expectations to live up to. Can he live up to them here on this channel? You can find out. Teller Tuesdays tomorrow. Can MVP number 2 be Clay Morrow? Can he do the double? Stay tuned. It's 9 PM tomorrow. So make sure you're there for Teller Tuesdays, there for the Sons of Anarchy Season 1 Episode 2. But this has been our pilot review. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and most importantly, leave any theories that you want us to make on Episode 1. So if there's any sort of videos that you want made on this opening episode, this premiere episode, then let us know. And from Wednesday through to next week, we will come up with a bunch of videos and hopefully keep you guys happy. That's it for Fog Entertainment. This has been the Sons of Anarchy pilot review. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace!